What's going on, Legion? As like always, we got another trailer from the overrated Breaking Bad TV show that was kind of meh and nobody really liked. Alright, so let's just get into it, check it out, see what it's all about. And like I said, man, Breaking Bad was it was good after the first season. It had some really awesome parts in it. Midway through the ending, it was just super. The tension was palpable. Like I was almost getting, well, not even almost. I would even I would feel it, in my chest. Like, dude, oh my god, is someone going to get like fucking got? At the time Breaking Bad was out, the other show that was out that was big at the time was The Walking Dead. I don't really watch that show religiously, really at all. But there was a scene, and this kind of just describes how I felt kind of through certain parts of Breaking Bad. Was in the Walking Dead when they lost everything and they're in that camper, or not camper, the suburban, and it was winter and there was literally nothing they could do. They had nowhere to go. I got a lot of tension in there, and it was kind of like the same closed off feeling you get for Breaking Bad when Walter was like bro, he was like, he's gonna get got. He's just gonna get it. Like, what's gonna happen next? And I felt in Breaking Bad they didn't do a whole lot of plot armor for Walter. He didn't just get through things because he did. They kept things kind of reasonable, I believe, and I think they kind of kept his he was actually captured at one point and he was forced to work for other people. So it's not like he just got away with stuff, which is probably what made the show so good, is that it kind of just went up, down, up, down. I think it's, for me, those kind of like feelings is because I remember I was in high school and we had nowhere to go. We had no home, and we put all our stuff in a storage unit. And we just sat there and we're like, dude, where the fuck do we go now? We have nowhere to live. And it was a weird time in my life. So to kind of have that, which is why I use the Walking Dead thing as an example, because it's pretty much the same thing happened to me minus the zombies and murderers. And in Walter, it was kind of a different scenario. He had kind of everything, but he's walking that fine line. And the fact they're making a movie about this, I'm all for it. So with that, let's just get into it, check it out, see what it's all about. Let's hope it's good. That's loud. Jesus, that's loud. Fuck it.
I get high and I get low. Oh, but that's the way these things go. I saw my face in the mirror, and oh, I know I've changed, though I look much the same. And I found grace in the black water, bathe my soul, tell my heart I told you so. I lay like bait in the lion's cage and wait for my time to come. But I'm begging, please, I need this so much more than you ever know.
You ready?
Draw.
Yeah.
So something I actually want to check out really quick. Whoops. I forgot. Okay. I actually haven't done this yet, so I'm gonna do this now. It's gonna. I actually haven't looked up what this. I didn't see it in any of the comments either. It wasn't. I was wondering if. I never looked up what this actually was. I thought this might have been a behind the scenes situation. So The Netflix event L something or other, Breaking Bad movie, reunites fans with Jesse Pinkman, Emmy Award. Yeah, who gives a fuck? In the wake of his dramatic escape from captivity, Jesse must come to terms with his past in order to forge some kind of future. Okay, so it isn't. Yeah, so it seems what it seems to be, which is not a behind the scenes, not a reimagining, not like, hey, here's 5 seasons condensed into like the best of with director commentary. I never looked up what this was, and I kind of asked last time I reacted to it. Most people wanted to be dumb, but and say pick out some words that I didn't really say, and then kind of add to kind of what I said, but I didn't fully say it in the way they thought I did, and so they were just a lot of bitching. But nobody really answered it, so yeah, it's a movie pretty much, a real actual movie, a spiritual successor, I guess you could say, to Breaking Bad, which that's kind of cool. When I first watched this, I didn't exactly know what it was. It was a trailer, a teaser maybe, and it didn't really explain, nor did I really get what it was. The fact that it's on Netflix, that's pretty cool. I'm always glad to see Netflix doing some stuff like that. They usually do some pretty good stuff. Some stuff is kind of meh, but some stuff is actually really good. They have a lot of good original series and things like that on Netflix. So every time something comes out for Netflix, I assume it's going to be a 10 out of 10, if not a 9 out of 10, just for shits and giggles. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what this is now that I fully understand. When I saw this, and I was just like, I didn't know what the hell this was. I just saw the title. I'm like, let's check it out. Didn't really tell me much, and I kind of just never looked up what it was. So I'm kind of glad to see that it's an actual movie that continues, because Aaron Paul is like, Jesse looking a little old, man. He's looking a little rough. He ain't like skinny, young, pencil neck kind of Jesse Pinkman he was. Now he's like some older man. Let's hope he's not just like that 20-year-old fuck that was just getting beat up all the time. Let's hope he can actually do some shit, and he's like a hardened fucking criminal, and he ain't gonna get punked every time, which that was definitely the character when he was young, right? That was he was like, at the time he seemed like an old, not an old guy, but an adult that was just like one of those fuck up screw ups that always got messed up because they were like a loser. And then when Walter came around, or when they were really together, and they kind of had that dynamic, it felt like Jesse was just way, way young, whether it was age possibly or just up here. He was just kind of like, and Walter was like this man with a family and stuff like that, a kid with a disability. He had to man up and take care of that kid, and he had a shit job that he whatever, and then he got cancer, and you definitely saw that he was like this adult, this seasoned man that was just dealing with a lot of shit on his plate. And Jesse was just kind of like this fuck up that only thing he had to hurdle was a drug addiction, right? He had no other care in the world. It definitely showed the age gap in the characters. And the economy between them was always just something unique, man. And they got a lot of praise for it for a lot of years about how incredible Breaking Bad was. And the show, in my opinion, was, if I had to rate it out of a 10, I'd probably give it a 7. For me, there was definitely 10 out of 10 moments, but the show itself, it was about a 7.5. And that's just for me, right? I understand how awesome it was, like how great it was, but the style of show it is and what it kind of entailed, although I like the gangster kind of movies and the mafia movies and stuff like that, this was just kind of a different feel. A lot more surreal, a lot more just depressing. And although I do like that kind of stuff for the most part, not like full, but this was like a heavy dose of just everything that could go bad for a man. It did. And that's just a lot, man. That's a lot to watch. I personally get really invested in the stuff I watch. That's why I get kind of picky, where I'm like, I'm a huge slasher movie fan, but I don't always watch them because I'm not in the mood sometimes for those movies. I was just talking about the girl from the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie seems to be in like a B-, animal horror, whatever those are, movies like The Meg with Jason Statham, and she's in the crocodile one, and I'm like, yikes. Those movies are fun to watch, but I'm not I'm not always in the mood for that stuff like that. Breaking Bad was a show that I was not in the mood to watch. I had no interest in watching it, but the buzz around it is what got me to watch it. It's probably why I didn't like the first season, like really at all, and why I went back and watched it after season 2. It just was not my style, I guess, at the time. And so even though the movie for me was a 7.5, what Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston did, you can't measure that. They were just perfect together. They were so good, and those were probably my favorite parts. There was a lot of suspense and a lot of oh my god going on with those with every episode, the DEA and is he going to get caught and stuff like that, and oh my god, dude, his brother-in-law getting fucking killed in the desert and being, I don't even know if he was fully buried or whatever. That whole shit show, that was insane, man. That was a lot. And although that was big and everybody was like, oh my god, for me, the best part of that was two people, Pinkman and Walter, not liking each other for the most part, working together for mutual ends or mutual means. But it was when they were at each other's throats the most, and then something big happened, and they were forced to like flee together because at the end of the day, there's no one else for them. Skylar's wife can't help. His kid can't help because they would judge him because they live in this nice little cul-de-sac, whatever house. Jesse's, his friends are just stupid, or they turn their back, or they're not even trustworthy. So as much as they hated each other, they knew that they were in it for mutual gains, and to fuck one another over wouldn't really do it. And in the beginning, it was like Jesse was like showing him this is how the street stuff works, and Walter was kind of like, okay, I get it, let's try to change that because I don't want to be some street punk, and he kind of took over and he kind of was making his own kind of way, but he wasn't infallible. He did make mistakes. He was ruthless, and Jesse was just kind of there to be the person that was like almost like his only friend. In some scenarios, it seemed like Jesse was there as also the person that would give him more insight than what he knew. Like Walter went from like not knowing anything to just being the cook to all of a sudden being the Heisenberg guy that was killing people. And sometimes he'd go from 0 to like fucking 100 and putting people in barrels and turning them into dude smoothies. He would go from 0 to like really fucking over the edge, and Jesse was there to kind of keep the anchor in reality. That you're not in The Godfather, you're not in a TV show, Walter. This is real life. You need to get a clue, And so Jesse kind of did like a multiple different kind of jobs, I think, to Walter. And then Walter was also kind of like the unofficial kind of surrogate dad, but not really, that he hated, because he told him to turn his music down. It was a very complicated relationship, but like I said, my favorite parts is when they were at odds the most, button heads, and then something crazy happened. Somebody got shot in the head. It's fucking the guy with the bell in the wheelchair, all that shit, and they were like, yep, we gotta go. You and me, baby. It's us, because there's no one else. If we walk this way, if I walk this way and you walk that way, I may be able to get away as Jesse, but I ain't gonna be able to cook as good as you. And Walter's gonna be like, I can cook, but I can't defend myself to that level, right? Jesse's over here being the one that can punch and shoot and whatever else, and Walter kind of can too, but he's also old and he's sick, and so he needs someone there to kind of, spur him on or like be his mental walker, if you will. So them going their separate ways, it wouldn't really work out for any of their benefits, but together, it's where it was. And so, like I said, when they hate each other the most, and they're like, it's you and me, brother. There's nothing else. There's no one else. We're not going to do this alone. Let's go. And they're like looking under shit and like making sure they're not dying. And they're like, you fucking bitch. They don't say that, but they give that look like, I can't stand you. You're lucky I need you, And then they're like, okay, is the murderer gone? Like those interactions were so fun to watch. And I really enjoyed those interactions. But like I said, the reason why I don't give the show a huge 10 out of 10 is because it was just so dramatic. It was just so depressing. And I was just like, I get that watching the news in real life. I don't need my TV show to be this shit, right? Like, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I'll see you on whatever video I'm doing next. Later, guys.